All right, it's that time again. I got to go over the solicitations for this Wednesday, see what's on my pull list, what I need to drop, and what I'm going to make a game time decision on. It's on the maybe list, so let's go ahead and get into it. What's up, guys? BJ Kicks here. I buy comics, I read them, and I review them, all for your viewing pleasure. So if you're new here, welcome. And if you're not, welcome back. Now, this is another episode of What I'm Getting. This is my weekly show where I go over all the comics coming out this Wednesday. I talk about what I'm personally excited for, what I'm buying, what's on the chopping block, and what's on the maybe list that I'm going to make a game time decision on. So before I get started, if you're new around here, you should definitely hit the subscribe button if you're into comic book related content. I do giveaways, we do live streams, unboxings, hauls. We do a lot of fun stuff. So you definitely want to make sure you're in the know and that you don't miss out when I post new content. So hit the subscribe button, then hit that bell icon so that you're notified every time a new video goes live. Now, today, if you've been watching the show, you know I have a specific way I like to do things. I show you the book I'm most excited for. We talk about books from that publisher and then the other publishers in that order, right? Then at the end, I talk about the books that are going to be on the chopping block, right? Books that just can't stay on the pull list anymore. And I tell you all along how much the cover prices are and how much I intend to spend that week. Now, if you guys have been following me for a little while, then you know I try to stick to a budget of $50 each week for single issue comic books. Now, some weeks I may be a little higher, some weeks I may be a little lower, but hopefully it all evens out. Well, today we're doing it a little different because when I added everything up, my pull list is sitting at $68 just this Wednesday. So everything is on the chopping block. We're going to go through all the books coming out this week, things that were already on my pull list I had subscribed to before. And we're going to have to sit here. I'm going to have to sit here and justify to you guys why I'm picking up these books. If I can't figure out a reason or, basically you guys are going to be able to see me make this decision live as to whether or not I'm going to keep picking up this book. So let's go ahead and start out with the book that I'm most excited for this week, and that is Robin #1. Part of the Infinite Frontier, DC Comics is bringing out new starting points for all sorts of characters, and for the first time in quite a while, Robin has a solo series. What's interesting is this Robin is Damian Wayne. Right, so we've had the Tim Drake Robin solo series, we've had the Dick Grayson Robin solo series, but anyway, now we've got a Robin #1 featuring Damian Wayne as front and center. Now, there's been a lot of things going on. I know in Teen Titans, Damian quit being Robin for a little while. In Detective Comics, it's been hinted that Damian's going to try to rejoin the League of Shadows. Forgive me, my cat is being crazy. But yeah, there's a bunch of stuff going on with Damian Wayne, and since he's my favorite Robin, I gotta see what's going on. So I'm excited for this #1 written by Joshua Williamson, and that's got a cover price of just $3.99. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the cover A. There are a lot of pretty cool covers. The one I like the most is the team variant by Andy Kubert, it's Adam Kubert. But anyway, I don't think that was gonna be available at my shop, so I'm just gonna get the cover A. Now, let's talk about DC Comics, and we're going to go ahead and talk about these titles, and I'm probably going to have to drop some of these. So the first one is Action Comics number 1030. Action Comics being written by Philip Kennedy Johnson. Now, between this week and last week, we got the announcement that Tom Taylor is going to be writing a new Superman series, and it is going to replace the main Superman series that is being written by Philip Kennedy Johnson. So the only series that Philip Kennedy Johnson is going to be writing is going to be Action Comics, but I'm just like, I was more excited to read, what Philip Kennedy Johnson's take on Superman was, and I was picking up Action because he was writing that as well. I'm probably not going to keep picking up Action Comics because it's just going to be focused on Clark, while the regular Superman book is focused on John Kent, and I don't really need both stories. So Action Comics 1030, it's got a cover price of $4.99. I was just going to get the cover A, but I think that's going to be the first book to get cut. Now, next up, Batman Superman number 17. Batman Superman being written by Gene Lin Yang. I was really enjoying Batman Superman leading up to Death Metal. It was just super inconsequential storytelling, but it was fun. And Joshua Williamson was writing that. But after Death Metal and Into Infinite Frontier, we've got a new creative team. And I haven't read it. I can't say it's bad, but just looking at my pull list, there are so many books, and they're almost all Bat related at DC. I don't need that many Batman books, so I'm probably going to drop Batman Superman, but that has got a cover price of $3.99, and I would have just gotten the cover A if I was picking it up. Next up, this is a series that I'm definitely going to keep getting. This is Batman Black and White, and I'm looking at issue number 5. Now, Batman Black and White, I've really just been buying for the covers, and this week is no different. I'm actually getting the cover B, which is done by Gary Frank. That's just a really dope cover. Batman Black and White is only a 6-issue series, and the issue 6 has a variant by Jason Fabok that I'm definitely going to get in a few weeks. So I don't want a hole in my collection, so number 5 is here to stay. That's got a cover price of $5.99. Next up, Detective Comics number 1035. Honestly, I will always pick up Batman and Detective Comics proper. Just always. But Detective Comics being written by Mariko Tamaki. Pretty sure Dan Moore is still doing the artwork. And it's been really fun so far. Like I said, the last issue I read, we had like a little preview of what was going on with Damian Wayne. That's going to be continued in the Robin series. We're still dealing with the Magistrate and how that came to be. I'm so sick of the Magistrate, but Detective Comics is still a good book. So I'm excited to pick that up. It's got a cover price of $4.99, and I'm just getting the cover A. Although Lieber Mayho has been doing cardstock variants on Detective Comics for like at least the last year, and they're always amazing. But I'm the type of person, if I get the cover A for a few titles, then I got to get the cover A for all of them in that series. So there we go, $4.99. And the next book up from DC Comics on my pull list is Teen Titans Academy number 2. Now, this is the last book that I'm probably going to cut. And again, not because of anything crazy or the book being bad. I haven't read it. There are so many titles on my pull list. I gotta just look at stuff and say, okay, do I really care to read this? Basically, this seems like DC Comics' attempt to capitalize on Strange Academy's success, or lack thereof. And you know, you got an Xavier School for the Gifted, but instead of Xavier or Doctor Strange being the host, it's the Teen Titans, right? And they're like, it's like Tiny Toon Adventures with the Teen Titans as the professors. I'm joking. But anyway, I didn't read issue 1, and the farther my backlog gets, the more I'm like, I'm probably not going to read this series. This isn't one that like rises to the top of my most wanted pile. So Teen Titans number 2, I'm going to go ahead and cut it off there. That's got a cover price of $3.99 if you're interested. So with all the books that were on my order form already from DC Comics, my total would be $28 if I don't make any cuts. And like I said, that's just a big week. Now, on the other hand, let's talk about Marvel Comics. I've only got 3 books on my Marvel Comics pull list, but I still got to make some cuts. Got to trim the fat. So first book up is Cable, number 10. I was enjoying Cable prior to 10 of Swords. I'm still about 2/3 of the way through 10 of Swords. I'm trying to finish up that event so I can catch up on my X-Men titles. I believe Cable is ending with either issue 10 or issue 12, so I'm going to see it through to the end because I was enjoying Cable, like I said, prior to. So Cable's got a cover price of $3.99, and I'm just getting the cover A. Next up, from Marvel Comics, this is Spider-Man Miles Morales, number 25. Now, this is the start of a brand new story arc called the Clone Saga. Yes, Miles Morales is getting his own Clone Saga. Now, all conventional wisdom would tell me to stay away from this event because I've heard nothing but terrible things about the original Clone Saga, but hey, it's Miles Morales. I hadn't been reading Miles Morales. It sounds like a great jumping on point to get into a fun story, and hopefully Marvel's learned from their mistakes. So I'm definitely going to be getting this issue 25, and I'm at least going to finish out the Clone Saga story arc, unless it runs forever like the original one did. Now, this has a bunch of really cool variants. There's a Mike Mayhew variant that looks like the Ultimate Spider-Man classic covers. I can't tell which variants are open order and what's not, so I'm just going to get the cover A on this, but hey, you might see a variant or two pop up in my box after I actually get to the shop. That cover A's got a cover price of $4.99. So there you go. Now, last on my Marvel Comics pull list is a book that's gonna get cut. This is X-Men Legends number 3. I believe it's written by Fabian Nicieza, but basically X-Men Legends is like, okay, what if the 90s X-Men never left, right? What if you're like reading stories from in between adventures in the 90s X-Men and stuff like that? Honestly, I have so much 90s X-Men to read in omnibus format. I don't need to reminisce. I can go back and read the original source material. No disrespect to the current writer and artist. Obviously, I think the art is really good and I like the nostalgic vibe, but I just can't justify having a story that doesn't tie in to all the other X-Men titles, clogging up my reading backlog. So, I'm going to say goodbye to X-Men Legends number 3, but that's got a cover price of $3.99. So those were my Marvel books. If I stuck to the list and picked up everything on that list, I would just pay $13 for my Marvel titles. Now it's time to talk about the indie books, right? And this section I actually call everyone else because these publishers are just as big as the big two. Well, not in market share, but they're big. They got big writers, big artists. You're not finding unknown books from these publishers necessarily. But anyway, first up is Abbott 1973, number 4, written by Saladin Ahmed, who's writing a Miles Morales Spider-Man book. Now, I got into this series because there was a bunch of hype. Apparently, there's a TV show being made. I wanted to hear what it was about, right? So the original Abbott series is like going for crazy prices on eBay, but Abbott 1973 is basically picking up where that left off a few years later. But I hadn't gotten a chance to read it. I'm going to keep it on the pull list because there's only 2 more issues left to finish it out, but it really doesn't need to be there. But Abbott 1973 has got a cover price of $3.99, and I'm just going to get the cover A. Next up is Bitter Root number 12. Now, Bitter Root is one of those stories that I sought out back when I was trying to find, stories by creators of color. And I've heard nothing but good things about it, but there's a lot for me to catch up on. I didn't even start picking up the book until issue 11. I got to get the first 2 trade paperbacks, and maybe that'll change my mind. But this series is definitely like on the maybe list right now. But yeah, Bitter Root number 12, like I said, I can't judge it because I haven't read it. Written by Chuck Brown and also David Walker, who co-created Naomi with Brian Michael Bendis. So I know there's promising things there. The artwork looks amazing, but I just have so much to read already. So anyway, that's got a cover price of $3.99. I'm just going to get the cover A if I get it. Next up is BRZRKR number 2. Now, I did a little mini review of BRZRKR in my community tab. Basically, Keanu Reeves is like being like a pseudo Wolverine type, like, the tortured soul who just wants to be able to die, who is brutally violent and also has an incredible healing factor, right? Like, only thing you're missing is the claws. I am kind of curious to see how this goes, like what this government agency is providing for him or not, and how the story is unfolding. But first issue is just a whole bunch of action, not a whole bunch of story. I'm hoping issue 2 has some story with it. So anyway, that's BRZRKR number 2. It's got a cover price of $3.99. I'm just getting cover A. Next up, Donny Cates' Crossover number 6. Now, I'm super far behind. I read the first 2 issues of Crossover and then got bogged down by death metal and everything else that was going on. But I read Venom by Donny Cates and Ryan Stegman here recently, and I really enjoyed it. So I feel like I gotta give Donny Cates' creator-owned works a chance because I liked his regular stuff. So I gotta get caught up. Crossover issue 6 is the last issue in the story arc. So I'm going to read issue 6. I'm going to read issues 3 through 6, actually, and make a decision as to whether or not issue 7 is going to stay on my pull list. But for right now, Crossover is safe. So that's got a cover price of $3.99. I'm just getting the cover A. Next up, Department of Truth number 8. Department of Truth written by James Tynion IV with artwork by Martin Simmons, if I'm not mistaken. Very creepy looking artwork, like a really murky story going into all these different conspiracy theories and the department that is trying to keep them from being truth or make them true in some cases, right? So I really enjoyed. I've read the first 4 issues of the series. I got to read number 5 so that I can review it with Laura from Brown Coat Reviews as a retro review on the channel. I'm gonna keep picking up Department of Truth until at least issue 10 because that's what they're gonna collect in the second trade paperback. But it might not be safe either. A book that I'm, 6 issues behind on, that can't be good. So, Department of Truth, that's safe for now, but it might end up on the chopping block. Now, next up is Erratic number 5. Now, Erratic number 5 is the final issue in the miniseries following Oliver Leaf, who just wants to be Spider-Man so bad, but has all these different setbacks going on. I read issues 1 through 3. I need to read number 4 and read number 5, but I enjoyed this little miniseries, or at least what I've read of it. And there's no need in dropping the one book that's, left to complete my set. So I'm going to get Erratic number 5. It's got a cover price of $3.99. I'm just going to get the cover A. But yeah, it's written and drawn by Kari Andrews, and he does a great job. It's a great looking book, so super dope. And lastly, the last book on my pull list is a book that's pretty much always going to be safe. This is Spawn, issue 317. Spawn, obviously written by Todd McFarlane, artwork by Carlo Barberi. I'm going to get this cover B. This is the Todd McFarlane, Greg Capullo cover. As long as Todd McFarlane and Greg Capullo are doing covers on Spawn, that's the cover I'm buying. There's not even a question. But anyway, it's got a cover price of $2.99, and that's why it stays on the list. It's always at least a decent story. It's always amazing artwork, and the cover price is always right. Plus, we're about to launch into the Spawn universe with a bunch of Spawn titles coming out. So if you're a Spawn fan, you'll have a chance to buy Spawn every single week of the month. I'm probably not going to buy all those daggone Spawn titles, but I'm definitely going to pick up issue 1 of each of them. So anyway, Spawn 317. It's got a cover price of $2.99, and I'm getting, like I said, I think it's actually the cover C by Capullo and McFarlane. But that's my indie total. That's my indie comics list. So if I stick to the list with my indie or my other publisher books, then I'm going to spend a total of $27 for them. And that brings my grand total for this week to $68. Now, I thought long and hard about all these titles and what should stay on the pull list and what shouldn't. So if I cut down all the titles that I told you, I'm probably not going to get this. If I cut those down, I will be back to a respectable $47 as my subtotal. I can deal with that. I can live with that. And like I said, it's just under budget. I try to stick to $50 a week. So the only thing that would make me buy these books is the fact that I ordered them. I pre-ordered them. You don't want to leave your LCS with a bunch of books they can't sell. So I'm likely going to spend somewhere between 47 and 68. But I just wanted to give you guys kind of a behind the scenes look into how I decide which books I'm going to buy. Because my pull list is way too big. I'm filling up a short box every month. There's no way I'm going to read all of these single issues and all the omnibus that I've been buying lately. So we got to make cuts where we can make cuts. But I want to know, what are your criteria? How do you decide which books you're going to buy? Do you have FOMO? You got fear of missing out? Do you just have to buy every single book involving your favorite characters, or can you dial it a step back? Let me know. Let me know in the comments below. If you want to talk comics with us all the time, you should definitely hit us up in the K Squad. It's our private Facebook group where we talk comics, we do giveaways, we do really fun activities, and like I said, you're eligible if you join the K Squad to win a free omnibus every month. Every month we'll give away an omnibus, courtesy of Organic Price Books. So if you want to be in the running for that, you got to join the K Squad. Hit me up. The link is in the description below. And until next time, I hope you saw something you liked in this video. I hope you saw a book that was interesting to you. Do what I'm trying to do, right? Buy what you like, not what you're afraid to miss out on. Make sure you read what you buy and be nice to others, because kindness makes the world go round. Peace.